Today, the trekkers are taking you to one of the most unique places in Virginia, Tangier Island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay.
I'm David.
I'm Frank. And I'm Alfonso.
And we're Virginia Trekkers. And we're here today on Tangier Island in the Chesapeake Bay.
A wonderful small island with a population of around 500 people. And when Dave says in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, we mean in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. This place is very unique because it's so secluded on its own little island. We're going to take you around, show you some really cool spots, and tell you how the people of Tangier need your help. And we hope you can hear us. If you're ready to go trekking, let's go!
Unless you have your own private airplane, there's only one way to get to Tangier Island, and that's by boat. We took the Joyce Marie Ferry from Onancock on the eastern shore all the way out to Tangier Island, 15 miles away.
Well, we're getting ready to go over to an island called Tangier Island, but there's no roads that take us there. So what kind of transportation do you think we need to take? That's right, by boat. Only way to get there.
And we're going to see if any of the trekkers get seasick. And this island over here is Watts Island. Nobody lives there on Watts Island, it's just a bunch of trees.
Even though Watts Island is uninhabited, Tangier Island has had people living on it since 1686. That's when John Crockett, an Englishman, first settled here. And there are still members of the Crockett family living on Tangier Island today. In fact, our captain, Mark Crockett, is one of his descendants. Right now there are about 500 people living on Tangier Island, and since it's so remote from the rest of Virginia, the people on Tangier Island have their own unique accent, which you'll hear in our video. Well, we finally arrived at the docks, and as you can see, fishing and crabbing are important industries here. Later on, we'll take you out on a crabbing boat with the mayor of Tangier Island.
Where are we?
So here we are on Tangier Island, a little town right in the middle of the bay.
Bumpy? It won't take us very long to get to the other side.
It's less than a mile from one end of the town to the other, so most people get around on golf carts. There's only one school on the island, with less than 10 students per grade, and today, everyone is gathered there because it's prom night. We were lucky enough to come to Tangier Island on prom night.
And prom night's a big deal around here, and I tell you, they go all out, and you can just look at how beautiful the setup is.
You know, being a Baptist, I miss my prom night because I'm not allowed to dance.
And even though I'm not a Baptist, I still didn't have that much fun on my prom, so I'm reliving this stuff now because it is awesome. Come on, Dave.
And look at the awesome deco here.
Alright, so behind me is the setup here for prom, and you'll notice that there aren't very many chairs. There are only 16 chairs here because the population here on Tangier Island is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There are 8 couples, 8 boys, 8 girls coming to prom tonight, but believe it or not, there are only 3 juniors and 5 seniors total. So there's 8 students in that are juniors and seniors in high school, and they're bringing 8 dates that aren't members of the school. So you guys can see here that the population here is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We get a treat tomorrow morning. We're going to be back here on these docks at 6 o'clock in the morning. And believe it or not, the mayor of Tangier is going to take us out in his boat, show us around the bay here, around the marsh, and show us what happens in some of these crab shacks and shanties on top of these docks. So stay tuned.
Later on that evening, we headed over to the Tangier Museum, where they were nice enough to let us stay for the night.
Alright, trekkers, it's time for us old men to go to sleep now. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Night at the Museum. Well, we're reenacting that for you guys. We are in the Tangier Museum tonight. That's where we're sleeping. So here's my sleeping bag here. I'm going to be crashing right there. And over here we have some crab pots. Going to learn about those in the morning. And then over here we got Alfonso. Alfonso's ready for bed.
Let's go sleeping.
Sleep good, Alfonso. And then over here we've got Dave. Dave's going to bed as well.
Good night.
So trekkers, we'll see you bright and early. I think we're up at 5:45. We've got to be on the docks with the mayor at 6. See you in the morning.
This is why you don't sleep in a museum all night.
You looked like that before you went.
How are y'all guys? How was y'all's guys' sleep?
I had a great sleep. I'm revved up and ready to try.
I'm ready to go crabbing. Let's go crabbing.
Hey boys and girls, trekkers, get ready quick. We got all dressed and packed in 18 minutes. That's record time, although this is the earliest I've ever woken up in about 2 years.
That's why he's late to work every day.
One of the advantages of waking up early, though, is that we got to see a beautiful Chesapeake Bay sunrise.
Okay.
And we're here today with the mayor of Tangier Island, James, and his son Joseph. And Joseph went to my school, Liberty University in Lynchburg. As we sailed out into the bay to go crabbing, Mayor Eskridge pointed out that erosion is a big problem on Tangier Island. Without any protection from the waves, the soil is being washed away, and Tangier Island is losing 30 feet of shoreline per year. So here you can see how much the erosion has affected the land here in Tangier Island. The shore used to be at that green beaker there, and now over the years, it's all the way over there.
So one of the ideas is to get some old barges in here where they can drop them right across and serve the same purpose as this stone for a lot cheaper.
We also stopped at Port Isabel, where the Chesapeake Bay Foundation has a learning center for teachers and students.
Alright, behind me you see a map of the northeast and part of the mid-Atlantic region of the United States. You can see the Chesapeake Bay here, running right here. And you hear a lot of times in Virginia about keep the bay clean. Well, it's not just us that have to keep the bay clean here in Virginia. You can see that water from New York, rainwater from New York, ends all the way up down in the Chesapeake Bay. So we've got New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia, and Delaware all have to keep the bay clean.
And the Chesapeake Bay Foundation on Port Isabel isn't just a place for learning, it's also a place for having fun. You know, wherever you go in Virginia, you can always find a place to party. We finally made it out to the bay, and Mayor Eskridge pulled up his first crab pot. Unfortunately, we didn't catch any crabs, but we did get some eels and a couple of fish.
1, 2, 2 small ones.
As we passed by a sandy beach on the southern tip of the island, we learned that some interesting history happened here. During the War of 1812, on that beach behind me, the British troops built a fort, and right now it's underwater because of the erosion. But this was their launching place for their attacks in Baltimore and Washington, D.C. And you remember the Star-Spangled Banner, written by...
Francis.
That's terrible. My Liberty education fails me. All right.
Francis Scott Key.
So you remember Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner at Fort McHenry in the Baltimore Harbor? Well, the ships that were attacking Baltimore came from here in Tangier Island. Before heading back, Mayor Eskridge made sure to feed his bird friends their breakfast. Our last stop was the Crab Shacks, and we arrived just as other Tangier fishermen were headed out.
Alright, so now we're up on the docks here, and if I was a crab fisherman, I would have parked my boat, bring my pots full of crab up here, and I'd put them in these tanks. And these tanks are for what they call peeler crabs. And a peeler crab is about to come out of his shell, so it'll be a soft crab. And we've been told that when they come out of their shell, they actually grow about an inch instantly because they're squeezed in there. So every time a crab needs to grow, it sheds its hard shell and then becomes a soft shell crab, which is a delicacy and worth more than a hard shell crab. So they come here as soon as they peel, and I got a new friend here. As soon as they peel, they bring them up into one tank because the hard shell crabs, the ones that haven't peeled yet, will actually eat the soft shell crabs, and that's bad for business.
Wait. And it's actually an interesting story about these cats. They were found on a piece of furniture floating in the Chesapeake Bay, and James saved their lives.
So here's a soft shell crab, and you can see how squishy the shell is. You can just push on it. And people love to eat these things. So here's my breakfast.
Well, it's been a fantastic day here at Tangier Island, and we'd really like to thank Uker over here for showing some really good hospitality, and we want to make sure all you trekker fans out there, boys and girls, get your parents to take a trip out here to Tangier Island. It's going to be an experience you will not regret. This is a place you need to come see. So come on and visit Tangier Island.